Now, me personally, just me personally, I would never get the brakes beaten off of me by a man named SCHWARZ. Thank you to our $5 patrons, Red Wolf 4765, Midnight Gem Lord Chion, and Demix LND. Another thank you to our $3 members, Recliner Plays and Red Wolf 4765. Another thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha and Idemokami. And another very big thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. Before we have this breakdown / review of chapter 111 of Full Knights of the Apocalypse, please don't forget to leave your own the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also hit that little notification bell to miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon below. You still for as low as $1 to get things like exclusive content, early videos, and more. You can also now become a member to the channel for as low as $3 a month to get these same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, let's hop into last week's poll. So, last week I ended up asking y'all, for Knights of the Apocalypse fans, I got to know, with chapter 110 being almost entirely a setup chapter, which piece of setup grabbed you the most? Which one got you the most hype for future events and revelations? Pick a choice and let me know why down below. And with that question being proposed, I gave you 4 options. Number 1, the Goddess of Truth, the establishment of Anne's magic and what could be going on with that. Number 2, the Twilight conflict, the battle between, at the time, the unnamed demon man and Prince Tristan. Number 3, the mysterious monsters, aka the mini Percies, those devious little things. And number 4, the hopeful's consequences, aka, you know, Percy getting what's coming to him in terms of like letting his enemies go and live and helping them. Something bad's gonna happen. And now those 4 options with a rather girthy, I'd say what, that's about a 16%, 17% actually, because I can do math, I swear, lead, the mysterious monsters, Percy, the mini Percies, and all their evil little things. Yeah, they were number 1. And I don't even blame people. Notably, like, I'm not sure what the general community reception is to Anne. Like, I have no idea, but like, she's not one of the 4 knights, and if there's one thing I've consistently seen in my own comment section, is that people are tired of the side characters. They just want the 4 knights to do 4 knights things. And I understand that, but I really like side characters. I don't think you should have your titular characters doing everything. And giving Anne, who is most definitely Percival's maiden love interest, a unique magical ability like this, I think is super duper interesting. Y'all didn't though. It was like second to last with 9% of the vote. Then runner-up would be the Twilight conflict. Of course, it would be Tristan versus what's again the unnamed demon man who looks a whole lot like Bellion, question mark. And yeah, obviously I know there are a bunch of Tristan stands out there, a bunch of Tristan stands. We're foaming at the mouth for this battle to see Tristan show off what he's really like, show he's really like that when it really gets down to it, when it comes to another member of his own clan, and people are getting hyped to see. And I don't even blame y'all, you know, like, I'm not the biggest Tristan hype beast out there. Like, you will not hear me running to the heavens and singing Tristan's praises. I'm sorry, that's just not gonna happen, for me at least. But even I can admit, seeing the Nephilim square up against some demons, like, come on now, it's kind of like in the history books, it has to happen. Same thing if we ever visit the celestial realm or we ever run into some goddesses, we gotta see Tristan run the ones with them too, using the darkness power. Like, come on now, it's pretty much what a lot of people are looking for out of a sequel series of Seven Deadly Sins, and I can't even like squash my biases enough. Yeah, I don't blame y'all for having this being the runner-up. With the mysterious monsters at 51%, yeah, they're evil. Like I don't think there's anything we're building to other than they're evil, they're gonna portray Percy, or like they're just not gonna. I feel like if we are gonna avoid like the internal evil inner demon thing, but we're just gonna be like, oh, Percy needs to actually get some control over these things, I'm assuming they're not gonna be able to heal one of Percy's friends at a pivotal moment. They're not gonna be able to heal one of Percy's friends at a pivotal moment, and then bada bing bada boom, that's going to lead to Percy's despair and maybe forcefully changing them or locking them out. Something's going to happen with them. You don't have Lancelot of all characters actively acknowledge that these things are weird based on how magic normally functions and then not have them do anything. And that makes sense that they got 51% of the vote. And then finally, the hopeful's consequences. Notably, I threw this on there because it's, you know, It was pretty heavily foreshadowed. And this is actually, I'll be real with you, this is the one I'm the most excited for, mainly because it kind of can feed into all the top ones. Well, not the Twilight conflict, but in terms of the mysterious monsters, in terms of the goddess of truth, heck, even in terms of future conflicts, I believe Percy's naivete is going to get one of his friends either grievously harmed beyond repair, and or worse, just die. I do think that's going to happen. That's what it feels like we're building to with Percy's naivete, and multiple characters telling him, hey, bro, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe that isn't the wisest idea. Maybe you should find a more violent path to victory or to the solution. I feel like it's going to happen. However, thank you guys for participating in that poll. Make sure you get your input in onto tomorrow's poll so you are included for next week's review. Now, let's hop into chapter 111. What's up, guys? Up until you, and here we are for chapter 111 of Four Knights of the which is known as Better Than the Me Today. Wait, no, hold on. Let me read it properly. Me today over me yesterday. So, this chapter is a continuation of the little training arc we have before we go to face the behemoth. But I will say, I think this chapter is better than the previous one because things do get a little bit more active. But let's not waste any more time talking about what happens generally in the chapter. Let's hop right into the chapter itself. After we talk about the color page is really, really nice. I actually do like it a lot. It is a little bit muted, though. That's the one issue I do have with it. The color page seems like desaturated. Like, I don't know, but like, you know how there are like levels of saturation and then just like there are levels of vibrancy into certain colors. It feels like Nakaba didn't use those proper markers, or like, just look at the hair, right? The hair is the biggest example. Donny's hair is a lot more vibrant red usually in Nakaba's color pages. Lance's gold hair, it's a lot more vibrant. Even, I'd say, darn near everyone's hair, realistically. Like, Chion's hair kind of looks like it's done by like a just regular purple marker you get at the dollar store. Like, I don't know. Something seems a little bit off, but it's just the coloring. The positioning, all that's fine. The poses, all that's fine. But it's interesting. It's interesting. It's a nice color page, but But let's actually hop into the chapter itself. So we open up, and we do get to see that Io is currently kneeling down. Well, actually, no. Ironically enough, they aren't actually kneeling. That's crazy. Zeldris. Me personally, my subjects are going to kneel to me, bro. I'm kidding. I know Zeldris is probably a kinder. He probably doesn't want to enforce the same ideology, but we'll talk about that in a second. But we see that Io is currently requesting some help from Big Papa Zeldris, as she says, "Excuse me, my lord. It would seem that SCHWARZ and his men are picking a fight with Prince Tristan. I can certainly understand their feelings on the matter, but Prince Tristan saved both me and those I hold dear." And we see Zeldris ask, "You think I should get active?" And yes, Zeldris, yes, I think you should get active. As Io also agrees that she believes she cannot overpower SCHWARZ, and thusly she wants Zeldris to step in. And there are a couple things here. Number one, Io. I mean, like, I guess technically Tristan saved your friends, but realistically it wasn't Tristan. It was Lance and Gawain. They were the ones who ended up saving your friends. How? I don't know. I guess they beat the mind control out of them, but it'd be really helpful. I wish I could properly tell how Lance and Gawain actually saved them, but of course that fight had to be off screen, so we would never ever know what actually happened in that fight. But that's just a little bit wrong. Number two, Zeldris, bro, you're telling me in 16 years you still, and I mean still, got these people believing the propaganda? No, don't get me wrong. It has literally been over 3,000 years. Realistically, if we go with like Chandler and Cusac's ages, it's been like 6,000 years at least of like building up hatred towards the goddess clan and the other races and the Nephilims, or the Nephilim singular. I don't think there are many of them. But like, dog, Zell, yes, you should intervene. Like, you're telling me you didn't tell anybody that, hey, that's my nephew? Like, I don't know. Hypothetically, if I were to go to, like, England, right? And I was told that a certain gaggle of individuals happened to have the king's nephew amongst them, and I just didn't like the king's nephew, I still wouldn't fight the king's nephew, because I know the king would not rock with that. Zeldris, the fact that your men are so so brave and bold. Like, they're so emboldened by your lack of action that they're willing to beat up your nephew is crazy. Like, dog, what? What? Like, me personally, I don't know. Like, I can't imagine the scenario where, not even in like a ruling scenario. Like, I know for a fact, like, I have a big family, shock horror. I have a massive family, and I knew there were just some younger cousins, older cousins in general that you just didn't mess with because you knew who their parents were and you knew what would happen if you mess with their kid. So, like, the fact that SCHWARZ, that's a big thing I'll talk about in a second, but the fact that SCHWARZ and his men are so emboldened that they actually believe they could engage in a fight with Prince Tristan and have no downsides to it is crazy. That's absolutely insane to me. Zeldris, get a better hold on your kingdom, bro. Number 2, SCHWARZ. I'm not sure if it's SCHWARZ. I'm not sure if it's SCHWARZ. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I'll wait till the anime in like 5 years from now. Like, there's no way. There's no way we're getting anywhere near this point. Chapter 110, we probably aren't seeing chapter 110 anime. It's like 2027. Being completely real with y'all. But I'll wait till someone actually knows how to say it, because there is no T. So technically it shouldn't be SCHWARZ, but I'm going to say SCHWARZ for now, because I'm not going to be able to consistently say SCHWARZ. But this is SCHWARZ. Or SCHWARZ. Or whatever. This is not Bellion. So Bellion is real. Bellion is canon. So that manga chapter is still canon. This guy just happens to really, really look like Bellion. And the rest of his crew happens to really, really look like the rest of the Six Knights of Black. But they aren't actually the Six Knights of Black, which is very, very good. Because that means the prequel chapter is still canon. And that means Prime Mael 100% still does slam Prime Mael. I said that so wrong. Prime Meliodas does still slam Prime Mael, because that chapter is still canon. Though the real question now is, where are they? Because I'm sorry, like, I know you keep saying that the movie's canon, but I don't think it's canon, because I still haven't been able to find anywhere in the timeline, nor any confirmation of anywhere of anyone who said it was canon. Like, I don't know, I've looked it up multiple times now. I have no idea where it was ever mentioned as canon. The only movies for Seven Deadly Sins that I know are canon are Cursed by Light and Grudge of Edinburgh. Those are the only two that I know. I think Person of the Sky is just like a fun concept idea. Nakaba did design the characters. He did design the Six Knights of Black, and he did release that prequel chapter. And the Six Knights of Black, as a concept, are canon. They are mentioned in the original manga. But since that movie isn't canon, where are the Six Knights of Black? Because they should be alive. Like, at least in the original manga, unless I'm mistaken, none of them were confirmed to have died or anything like that. They were last spotted in the Goddess Realm, so who knows, maybe if we ever do go to the Celestial Realm, we'll see them there. But it's interesting that the Six Knights of Black pretty much go unmentioned, because they were the runner-ups to the Ten Commandments. Like, they were the secondary group that followed that, so it's intriguing that they don't even get a mention here, though they do seemingly have, like, younger copycats. Presumably it's, like, their siblings. I'm not going to assume that it's literally just Nakaba being lazy and slightly tweaking some old designs. I'm going to assume there's going to be some familial relationship between SCHWARZ and Bellions. SCHWARZ and Bellions. But with that being the case, we do get to see that Zeldris, he thinks on it. He gives it a whole second of thought, and he's like, you have it wrong, yeah. Me forcing them apart wouldn't solve anything. Would just leave both of them unconvinced and hateful. And, I mean, I kind of see what Zeldris says here, because he continues. As Io tries to rebuttal, he's like, it was the same way between my brother and me. A problem like this can only be solved by those involved in it. And, you know, I kind of understand what Zeldris means here, right? Kind of, I don't know. Because notably, I do think this is a problem of poor management. Zeldris, it's been 16 years, bro. 16 years. You know how much can change in 16 years, even relative to demon lifespans? Like, scaling that down to a year and a half. You know how much can change in terms of viewpoints in the year and a half? Like, dog, you're telling me the seven deadly sins are still viewed as enemies. You're telling me the 10 commandments are still viewed as valiant heroes who sacrifice their lives doing what they love. Like, come on now, bro. Zeldris, you were one of the 10 commandments. Dude, you are the new king. Like, just tell them the truth. Like, notably, I would say, oh, maybe Zeldris is doing this because revisionist history and all that. He's like, or he's trying to avoid that. He's trying to be as honest with the demon people as possible. But it's like he's not even trying. He's not even trying to explain to them that, hey, you know, our father was a tyrant who was like making our lives actively worse and putting us in worthless battles. You literally wouldn't have a queen right now if I followed my father's path. Like, dog, chill. Like, at least try. Like, notably, I've been headcanoning it that Zeldris has tried this, but no one's acknowledged it. But I don't know, I've been rereading the chapters, and it seems like he just hasn't. He just, like, he has not done anything to try and change how the demon world looks at people. Because it'd be one thing if it was mentioned. Like, if Schwarz said, I don't care what the king says about you and your people. You are our enemies, and you have been for the past 6,000 years. That's not going to change in a day. And like, I could get something like that. But notably, Zeldris seems to have done nothing but sit back and lounge around for the past 16 years. And I still haven't seen no kid. So where's the kids at? Where's the kids? Where's the kid? You're telling me you had 16 whole years, 16 of them with Gelda, and there's not a singular child? Not a single one of them? Really? 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 16 years, bro? Like, you know, I get maybe waiting 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10, but like there should at least be one child. Dude, you've been waiting how long? It's like even, it is literally pre 3,000 years, because Zeldris had to seal away the vampire clan before he was leader of the 10 Commandments. So like this predates even the flashback we see when we're seeing like Droll, Gloxinia, and all that being possessed by King and Diane. Like this is way back when. You've been waiting for a hot minute, Zeldris, and you still ain't got no kids. Like do you guys not just want them? Like you haven't even mentioned them. Like come on now, come on. I'm excited to see some Vemons, bro. Where are the Vemons at? But aside from all that, aside from me critiquing Zeldris for not really doing much in terms of trying to progress Demon World Society, or at least it not being mentioned yet that he's been trying, and him not having any kids, I do kind of get what he means, though. Especially, like, 2 stubborn people. Like, notably, my friend group is not violent. We are not a violent gaggle of individuals. But there are times when smack was talked, and no matter what, no matter who would try and stop it, the worst we could do, or the best we could do, was just let them hash it out. Like, oh, I beat you 21-0 if we played the 21. Like, even if they were like yelling or screaming at each other, we just have to take them to the courts. Let them settle this. Let them settle this. The essential battle that Zeldris is referring to, and the one that's going to happen, the one that we see happen in this chapter, is essentially just that. Except instead of talking, this is gonna sound bad. Instead of talking smack, Tristan was just born. Tristan was not talking any smack at all. He was just bored. So now he has to make up for the fact that he was born to the 7 deadly sins leader Meliodas. He just has to fight for that, and we see that fight begin. So admittedly, Zeldris a little bit underwhelming as Demon King, bro. You're telling me you still ain't even Demon King level yet, bro? You're afraid of a behemoth, but like whatever. We're gonna let it rock. And we see, speaking of letting it rock, that Schwarz and Tristan immediately get active. Notably, I do have to give. I was about to say I have to give Tristan credit. No, I have to clown on Tristan. Tristan, stop running up on people in base. When has this worked, bro? When has this worked? Like, I'm trying to think. Has Tristan run up on anybody in base and it actually been valid? The only person he quote-unquote ran up on in base was Percival, when he was Despair Percy. He managed to kick Despair Percy away from Jade in base. But that's about it. Tristan, why are you running up on a demon in Demon Mark while in base? Broski, you should know that this is not going to end well. Like, come on now, bro. I would get it. No, I can't. I really can't. Like, here's the thing. Demons exist in Demon Mark. Like, if they have a Demon Mark, they're usually sitting in it. And I get that. Tristan doesn't have control over his Demon Mark, for whatever reason. So, that's fine. But at least sit in Goddess mode. Lunge in and get the Triskelion up or something. Bro, you should have known that running up in base was not the way. And Schwarz immediately proves that running up in base is not the way. Because while Tristan's dual-wielding out here, swinging with both blades, Schwarz blocks him, weaves the sword swing from Estarossa, and immediately smacks that man down like he owes him lunch money. And knowing Tristan, he probably does owe him lunch money. And the thing is, I love some Nakaba choreography, bro. Because after Schwarz weaves, smacks Tristan down to the ground, he immediately just speed blitzes behind Tristan. And, like, this is a swing for a decapitation, right? Like, there's nothing else that this could be interpreted as. Like, Schwarz reeled back with all the force in his body. He was definitely swinging to take Tristan's head off. But Tristan does the barrel roll forward. But Schwarz immediately, seeing the barrel roll, is like, I bet, and plants his left foot straight into Tristan's ribcage and sends him flying. So Tristan, buddy, pal, amigo, stop running up on these people in base, bro. It never works. It never works. You are not your dad. You are not your father. Luke, Tristan, you are not your father. Like, legitimately, bro, you can't run up on people in base. Mel could run up on people in base, But even then, like, after Demon Mark got properly introduced as a thing that demons just had, when did Mel really run up in base? He ran up in base on the Demon King, but that's because he was drastically outpowering the Demon King. Fine, you can run up in base there. He ran up in base on Fraudrin, but did he really? He sent his clone out in base, and then he proceeded to pull up and instantly go Demon Mark, even though Demon Mark was overkill against Fraudrin. Against Monspeet and Darriere, he pulled up in base, but once again, he drastically outpowered them. He only turned on Demon Mark just to flex. It's like, Tristan, you should be able to sense the level of opponent you're fighting, bro. If you think you can drastically outpower them in base, run up on them in base. But Tristan, you should know better. Like, dog, he literally gets bounced 3 times from one kick off the wall by simply interacting with Schwarz once. Bro, you cannot let this be happening, bro. You're a son of Meliodas, nephew to the Demon King. Bro, what is going on here? However, we do get to see, as Chion is worried. I do love Demon Gang, though. They're all like, yo, get him, Schwarz! that is how, admittedly, like, referencing the basketball thing again, I do specifically remember I was rooting for somebody, and like when they started going crazy, like they hit like the smoothest, most buttery fadeaway 3 that I've ever seen, and I did. Your boy was admittedly gassing him up a little bit because that was kind of crazy. So this is just like my homie hit the fadeaway 3. Schwarz did end up hitting Tristan with the kickaway 3. And we do get to see that as Tristan coughs up a little bit of his life juice, Bellion, I'm saying Bellion, because I really thought this was going to be Bellion. I thought Nakaba really was going to retcon the 6 Knights of Black. But Schwarz rolls up and is like, that was 6 rips, was it not? And we see that Tristan's like, okay, and? Let me goddess magic up real quick. And he activates the Triskelion. And we see he heals himself up with a tap to the chest as Schwarz recognizes goddess clan magic. And then Tristan immediately goes with the pure retaliation. This is the kind of energy you need to open up with Tristan, because he immediately says, I don't care if you're going to get erased from existence. Hold this arc for me. And he just lights Schwarz up at the arc. And this is like genuinely crazy. I know Tristan probably knew that he could eat it. Like, for the most part, I don't think Tristan was actually trying to vaporize the upper half of Schwarz's body here. But, like, can you imagine? I'm not sure what the context of the duel is, though, right? Like, presumably it's not to the death or anything, but, like, that's like you're fighting somebody fist to fist, and, like, they, like, randomly pull out a sword. Like, to be fair, the sword is not confirmed lethal, but, like, still, bro, we're fist fighting. Why'd you pull out the sword? Yes, I'm going to pull out a sword if we fist fight. Please do not try me. I'm not here to box. But I'm kidding. But with that being the case, he does whip out the arc, and while his crew is a little bit worried for him and Kyn's a little bit hyped up, he does immediately tear out the arc. And once again, this genuine reaction of shock from Tristan makes me wonder, like, what was he going for there? Was he hoping to immediately incapacitate Schwarz with the arc, or what? Because he does seem shocked, genuinely shocked that Schwarz managed to take it. So what is he expecting here? Like, that's the big thing with sensory abilities, not just in 7 Deadly Sins / 4 Knights, but in general with sensory abilities. But like, Tristan, you should know how powerful this man is, or at least have a solid guess. Sure, maybe he's suppressing himself and he's bringing out more and more levels of power, but like, bro, you should be able to take a solid guess about how much girth this man has and be able to respond appropriately. The fact that Tristan's generally caught off guard here is kind of concerning. However, Schwarz does lunge in, but I do give Goddess Tristan credit. He is actually managing to block a lot of Schwarz's attacks here, which is good, which is very, very good for him, because before it was looking tragic, but he is seemingly equal 1-to-1 with Schwarz in terms of just like offense to defense. Schwarz is swinging his big old blade, but Tristan is able to block with both of his swords. However, we do get to see that Schwarz, he does take damage from the arc, but he's really looking to see what Tristan can actually do, right? And this does make sense, because you gotta remember, Tristan isn't just fighting to represent himself here, but he's also fighting to represent his actual species. And he's also fighting to represent, like, his family, his mom and dad. Because, as far as Schwarz knows, as far as most demons know, I don't think they ever actually saw, or at least current demons, maybe older demons, like older gray demons, older red demons, any high-ranking demons like Schwarz and his older family, maybe they know of Meliodas' power and stuff like that, but outside of Meliodas' recent visits to the demon world, where I highly doubt he was doing much flexing, like, most people don't know how powerful Meliodas is, or don't know how powerful Elizabeth is, or anything like that. They don't know the 7 Deadly Sins. All they know is that somehow, some way, they managed to defeat the 10 Commandments and slay the Demon King. That's all they know. And while that's pretty impressive, like, you can tell me a guy managed to beat, I don't know, Floyd Mayweather and what's another fighter? I don't know. I don't watch enough fighting. I really don't. I don't really watch UFC or boxing or anything like that. Adonis Creed. I know that's a fictional character, but regardless, like, you could tell me someone beat those dudes, but like, I don't know. Here's a more relatable thing. Once again, I always tie it back to video games. You can tell me that someone beat Goichi and Sonic Fox in their primes while playing fighters. Proof. You have video? No video? Sorry. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll test myself. So legitimately, Schwartz is legitimately interested in seeing what Tristan, as the son of the traitor and the accursed bloody Ellie and the son of the people who slayed the Demon King, he really wants to see what's going on here, because he probably has super duper high expectations. And Tristan, by getting slammed around like this, is probably failing to meet him. And then once again, Tristan, why'd you go back into base, bro? But, well, actually, we do see why he goes back into base here, as we get the next of, like, infinite Tristan forms. Like, bro, what? This is, I don't know. I like it. I'm more than happy to have a bunch of different forms to catalog. But, like, what is this? This is, like, number 7? Like, how many forms does he have? Like, if you count every single variation we've seen as a form, which I think we should, we know there's base. We know there's Demon Mark. We know there's Goddess Eye, Triskelion Eye, but no wings. We know there's Triskelion Eye with 2 wings, Triskelion Eye with 4 wings. Have we seen him with 6 wings yet? I don't think we've seen him with 6 wings. Then we know there's the hybrid state where he has the 1 Goddess Eye, the 1 Demon Eye. Then he has this new state, which is 1 Human Eye, 1 Demon Eye. Like, bro, what are the multipliers? What are the amps? Because, like, as far as we know, Demon Mark is just a basic 2 times amp. What is this? A 1.5 times amp? Something in between? How strong are the goddess forms if this is something? Like, I have no idea. And I don't think Nakaba knows. I think Nakaba just thinks, oh, this is cool. Let me do it. And, like, sure, it is cool, and I'm happy he's doing it, but I'm very, very confused. Like, why? Why only 1 eye? Maybe he does go dual. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He very specifically uses only 1 eye of darkness. So he's not even going all out against Schwartz. And once again, maybe this is for the fact that he just doesn't know how powerful Schwartz is, but still, bro, let it out a little bit. Once again, you're in a safe space right now, Zeldris. Not Zeldris. You're in a safe space right now, Tristan, because Uncle Zeldris is here. Once again, I think Tristan is extremely powerful, but I don't think he surpassed Zeldris, even if Zeldris for some reason has not surpassed, or at least matched his father to the point where he's scared of the behemoth. But, dude, you should be able to while out a little bit. At least you know Lance is here. If you don't know about your Uncle Zell, you know Lance is in the vicinity. Lance can come one-tap you if the need really calls for it. There are a bunch of weapons lying around. He can Shining Road you real quick if the need be. Dude, go all out. Once again, even if, remove all the representative stuff. Remove the fact that he's a representative of the Nephilim race. Remove the fact that he's a representative of his mother and father. Remove the fact that he's a representative of realistically every other non-demon race for this group of seemingly high-level demons. Tristan, your own self-respect, bro. Like, me personally, I know I keep saying that, like I'm a top-tier instigator. I'm not, I promise. I don't instigate often. But, like, me personally, I'm just fighting for myself. Like, I'm gonna fight to prove that, hey, you can't talk back to me like this. You can't confiscate my friend's weapons, slop off one of my other friends, and really treat me like this. Bro, I'm gonna whoop your behind. Like, straight up. I'm not gonna go half Demon Eye. I'm gonna go to my strongest form. Whether that's the hybrid state or just straight Demon Mark, I'm gonna do it. I'll while out a little bit. Fine. You want to see what I can really do? I'll show you. Like, once again, I always relate it back to video games because I'm not a fighter. But I play fighters, but I'm not a fighter. If someone were to pull up on me and challenge my reputation, be like, you ain't like that in fighters, I'd be like, fine. I'll yank out the main team so quickly. I will pull out every last stop. I will do as diabolical things that I need to do in order to get the job done. But Tristan, he's just consistently suppressing himself here. Because even if we don't know what's stronger between Demon Mark, full Demon Mark, and the hybrid state, this is not. Demon Mark, this is not. This is halfway committing. And that feels a little bit underwhelming, bro. Tristan, go all out. But we do see he manifests the singular Demon Eye, and he starts to go a little bit crazy. He whips out this new move called Slash Canyon. I say Slash Canyon. It's Slash Cannon, but it's only one N. So I feel like it should be Slash Canyon. But we do get to see he tears out, wiles out, and we see Schwartz actually does get a bit overwhelmed here. He gets torn apart, and seemingly enough, Tristan does end up using some Hellblaze in order to like light it up just a little bit, mainly because of how the fumes look. Like this does seem to be either purgatory fire or straight up Hellblaze, just based on how it's colored, how it's used here, because we've seen Tristan's attacks before and they usually don't leave this blazing mark. But then again, there's no like remnants of the blaze on his weapons or anything like that. And Bellion, I mean, no, there is a fire though, so I think he actually did whip out Hellblaze, and this does make sense. He should have it. He has full counter, he has arc. It does make sense they would have this type of magic, but we've never seen him use it before, and he's using it. Actually, no, we did see him use, no, that was a dark ball. We actually never seen him use Hellblaze, so this is interesting. It's nice to see him use that. However, once again, I guess he gassed himself up a little bit too much, because out of the flames and the ashes lunges a transformed SCHWARZ, and this is very interesting, right? Because I think this is the first demon outside of Galland that we've seen. Well, no. But then again, technically Melascula's transformation is into the humanoid form. But I do believe this is the first demon we've seen outside of Galland and Melascula, ironically enough, considering they were revived as Chaos Commandments, to have transformations beyond their demon mark. And I specifically mean like transformation. Like you could technically say Assault Mode is a transformation beyond demon mark, because it is. And so is True Magic. But like, SCHWARZ goes from a mostly humanoid looking dude to Orange Piccolo. Like his horns get big. Like, did he even have horns normally? Like, no, bro spontaneously develops big old throbbing horns on the top of his head. He gets spikes coming out of his chin. His whole demeanor change. He gets way buffer. Like, legitimately, this is a transformation, just like Critical Over. And that's intriguing. You know, we don't really get that often with demons, or in general, realistically. Like, the only major, like, massive on-the-fly transformations we get are the demon marks, which most demons can't really surpass. And then, I guess you could say King's full wing stuff, but other than that, transformations don't usually happen. But Bellion has a nice on-the-fly transformation. Is it a little bit ugly? Maybe. But that's probably just my bias. I just don't like this kind of design. I'll be completely real with you. I really like Bellion's base. I keep saying Bellion. SCHWARZ's base design. I like SCHWARZ's base design a whole lot more. Buff, skip and leg day kind of do. I don't know. It's just not my thing. But, I mean, it's not Tristan's thing either. Because after Bellion Raw, I keep saying Bellion. After SCHWARZ roars, "Is this all you can muster?" He sends the smoothest, most butteriest, gooeyest uppercut straight to Tristan's stomach, and pretty much immediately OHKOs him. Like, it doesn't look like Tristan was going to recover anyway. But then, to add insult to injury, SCHWARZ takes his left and just slams Tristan seemingly head first into the ground, because like the ground splinters around Tristan's head. And yeah, SCHWARZ wins. Like, that is just where the battle ends. As SCHWARZ says, after reverting back to base, mind you, "I was excited to witness the powers of a Nephilim, but I see you have no self-respect whatsoever, neither as a goddess nor a demon clan member." And as Tristan coughs up the life on the ground, SCHWARZ says something stupid, but like, once again, I can't blame him, simply on the "I'll believe it when I see it" metric. He says, "No way this woman's father could have beat the 10 Commandments. He must have used some sort of underhanded trick." And, whew! SCHWARZ, do I have a story for you? It's called Seven Deadly Sins. Specifically after chapter 131. But like, dog. This is kind of embarrassing. But once again, this does add something very, very important here. It does add something super duper important. It builds on Tristan's whole character story, which I'd say realistically is an identity crisis. Like, on the entire level, every single level of Tristan, not just his biology, but every single part of Tristan is the whole identity crisis thing. Who should he be? Should he be just the son of Meliodas and Elizabeth? The continuation of the Seven Deadly Sins? Should he be his own man from that? Should he be a demon? Should he be a goddess? Should he be somewhere in between? What should Tristan be? Should he be better than Lancelot, considering he sees his father have faith in Lancelot more than he has faith in him? The understanding and the trust that Meliodas has for Lancelot and his power is different than what trust Meliodas has in Tristan and his power. The variance there. Tristan's whole journey is going to be one of self-discovery. So it would make sense, after being beat down by a demon, and a demon who can recognize the demonic power that Tristan wields, but sees that he doesn't wield it effectively, of course he's going to be like, you can't choose. You're just stuck in between. You aren't picking one side or the other, and being as indecisive as you are, that's going to make you weak, and it's why you lost this fight. And it's true. hypothetically, who knows? Maybe if Tristan did fully commit to one side or the other, he could have beat Schwartz here, even in his transformed state. Tristan only activates one demon eye, no mark at all. He refuses to commit to becoming a full demon. When he uses arc on Schwartz, what does he do? He just uses arc with Triskelion eye. He doesn't even properly whip out the full proper, who knows the upper limits of his goddess state, but presumably some wings would signify how much power he was using. He didn't pop out any wings. He's trying to beat Schwartz, a fully respected, fully involved Demon Clan member, by not committing fully to either side. And that's just not going to work. Tristan trying to be mighty without fully committing to something, whether it be one side or the other or somewhere in between, it's not going to work. He will not be able to achieve his true potential until he properly acknowledges himself, like Schwartz has, like many other warriors has. And to be fair, once again, this makes sense why Tristan could struggle with this and will struggle with this. The Demon Clan doesn't have the best history for the other half of his biology. He is, once again, probably a living, breathing nightmare of agony, considering that the light and darkness within him consistently, and I mean consistently, fight each other. He probably does not like the fact that he doesn't have full control over himself when he gives in to Demon Mark. And who knows, maybe he has a similar affliction with Goddess side, it's just that he's more biased towards it. So I'm very interested to see where Nakaba takes this, because notably you see Tristan get up, he does tank the hit for the most part, and he like questions Schwartz, like, how dare you speak of my father that way? But we see he doesn't get up, he doesn't stand, he doesn't try and fight back anymore, he doesn't heal himself and get right back into action. Chion runs over and says, Prince Tristan. Schwartz declares, see yourself out of the demon world then. We'll guard Sir Percival a week from now in your stead. And Schwartz walks off. Not a bit of damage on him. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know, this is Tristan. This is a man who realistically is beyond commandment tier, or at least in commandment tier in terms of raw power, and he got dogged on. Admittedly, after Schwartz transformed, he was beating Schwartz when they were going Demon Mark to Pseudo Demon Mark, but still, yeah, Tristan has kind of let himself down here. He hasn't shown what he's really made of, out of fear of what he's really made of, and hopefully this Demon World arc helps him come to an understanding that he needs to accept himself, at least a little bit. If he really wants to be useful, if he really wants to be able to do what he wants himself to do, he's gonna have to commit one way or the other. And I don't know when that's gonna be. Because I would like it to be this Demon World arc. Obviously, I would love for Zeldris to actually train him to use Demon Mark, but Zeldris seems super uninvolved. Or at least he didn't express any interest in doing it just yet. So I'm hoping that Tristan, after this whooping, goes to his uncle and is like, hey, yo, bro, I mean, Unc, let me level with you real quick, dog. I'm not getting beat by a man named Schwartz again. Please help me train this Demon Mark. Because I feel like if there's anyone who can do it, it would be Zeldris. I'm really hoping, because why else? Why are we in the Demon World with Tristan and not have him train Demon Mark with Uncle Zel? Please, Nakaba, please. But with that being the case, we cut away from the booty beating that Tristan received over to Nasiens, Anne, and Isolde. And we see that Anne has managed to wake up. And we see that the reason she was knocked out in the first place is because her own magic did in fact just absolutely take her out. And that is still crazy. I don't know. That's too horror to draw back for me. Like I guess it's still useful, like, to use it on other people, but still, I think the worst thing is that, I mean, maybe you can do it. Maybe if you don't answer Anne's question, you'll still get hit. I think maybe that's what happened to McDuff, but like, I still don't think this is very combat applicable. Like, unless you can force someone to answer your questions or can trick someone into doing it, like, this weight stuff just won't work most of the time. It still has too complicated of a prerequisite to activate. Because we see, as Anne figured out that, oh, her own magic crushed her, she realizes that it let up after she fainted. So if you do knock out Anne, then the effects just don't work. So heavens forbid you have ranged attacks and you can like lift 2 fingers and like shoot Anne or something like that, just reel back and unlock something on her, like whether it be a goddess using an arc beam or a demon using purgatory fire or anything like that. Heaven forbid you can actually just hit Anne, because then the magic will stop working. And we see that nasiens apologizes because he's like, oh, well, sorry, this straight up wouldn't have happened if you hadn't joined my training. And we see that Anne actually takes this as a positive thing because she does exactly what Lancelot really wanted her to do, figure out more about her magic. And she explains the 5 prerequisites that she's figured out. 1, it crushes anyone who answers my question with a lie. 2, the pressure returns to normal once the truth is told. 3, the magic has the same effect on me, the caster. 4, telling more lies adds to the crushing force. And 5, it vanishes once I pass out. So, it's booty. I don't know, at least, because what if you just run into a person who doesn't want to lie to you? It'd be one thing if the weight could be triggered by Anne if you are hiding something. If you have secrets at all, then you get hit by the weight. That's nice enough. But the fact that it has the prerequisite that Anne has to ask you a question that you need to hear and then you need to answer back with is so... I hope it evolves again. I legit hope it evolves again. Because it seems very situational. It doesn't seem like an active magic. It seems very, very, very passive and responsive. And in a world like Seven Deadly Sins and Four Knights, where being passive and not active is super duper dangerous, I'm hoping Anne finds a way to circumvent the activation process to where she can just kind of hit people with the weight. Hopefully. However, with that being the case, Anne immediately asks, oh, okay, well, I'm glad I was able to figure that out about my magic, but what are you doing here, Isolde? And Isolde explains that she was out on a walk when she heard the shouting and came to help out. And Nasiens reveals that it was Isolde who actually carried her here. And thanks, Isolde. But naturally, the question comes to mind, okay, I'm glad you helped me, but wouldn't you rather be by Prince Tristan? And we see that Isolde was essentially dismissed by Tristan. Chion didn't leave because Chion, the mega meat muncher, but Isolde, mini meat muncher, was like, ironically enough, Isolde is 2 Chions big. But still, she was like, oh, okay, Prince Tristan, I can leave you alone. And Tristan went to go reclaim the weapons, which led to the fight we saw earlier on. And we do get to see that Isolde's just been stuck on what Jade had to say earlier, or lack thereof. The words that Jade attempted to say, presumably yesterday or 2 days ago at this point. And we see that Nasiens, he gets it, right? He knows exactly what Jade was trying to say to Isolde before he went, ah! He knows. And Anne recognizes that, she's feeling guilty because she didn't get to follow out or fill out his final request. And we see that Isolde's even confused. She's like, I have no idea why he would sacrifice himself for me. I understand Prince Tristan, because Prince Tristan is the greatest. Oh, I would just love to slap him off. But why me? And I don't know. To this day, I was about to say, I was very thick-headed in high school. But no, I'm very thick-headed in general. I'm just not the sharpest spoon in the kitchen shed. Never have, never will be. But I don't know. If someone threw themselves in the way of a death attempt, for me, I think I could take the leap that they cared about me a lot more than friends. I feel like I could make that leap, that assumption. But we see, as Nasien goes to tell her what the assumption was, here, since you seem to not be the sharpest spoon in the kitchen shed, allow me to explain to you. I'm sure that Jade... And immediately cuts Nasiens off. And part of me is dude, she deserves to know. Even if it would be rough on the heart, she deserves to know that she was loved, she was cared for. Even if Tristan never glances her way, it's good to know that someone loved you. Especially considering that was his dying wish, to let her know that Jade's dying wish was to have Isolde know that he did love her. That was the end goal. That was the end game. We're in the end game now. Yeah, that was the end game. But it seems like Anne's just saying no to that. And I can somewhat understand it, right? Because, can you imagine having one of your childhood friends drop on you, and then you can't put 2 and 2 together? But then these people who you just met, a week ago at most, realistically, 4 days ago, are able to piece out that, oh yeah, this guy loved you. He loved you, and you never knew. You never even noticed. And now he's dead, so you can never even begin to tell him how you even feel about those feelings. So I can definitely understand why. I simultaneously don't but I do like what Anne did here, sparing Isolde the pain of knowing that she essentially let her homie get dropped without ever letting him know. or being able to be told that he loved her, which is rough. However, we do get to see that as Isolde goes on to ask, Nasiens, do you know? The Donners pops up and it's like, yo, you okay, Anne? Heard you got flattened. Couldn't be me, though. We do get to see that Lancelot is like, bruh, I told you to rest, not slam yourself into the ground. However, his eyes are still closed. And we do get to see, as they acknowledge Donny and Lancelot's presence, Nasiens asks, oh, Donny, is your training going well? And as Donny rubs under his nose, it's like, oh yeah, it's doing gangbusters. You know what I'm talking about? We see that Anne is like, really? You're doing gangbusters on your training? Do you even know what gangbusters are? Were there gangs in it? Like, such interesting word choice. I don't know, gangbusters. But we do get to see that Anne is like, you're lying, aren't you? And of course, Donny, probably not being aware of Anne's new magic, immediately lies. He's like, no, Tommy, I'm not like you at all. And he immediately drops to the ground with the special weight put upon him. And we see that Anne gets the 6th prerequisite. 6, it doesn't activate if someone else asks the question. So another thing, like, that could be an interesting way to circumvent it. Like, oh, maybe if your opponent wouldn't particularly respond to Anne, but they would respond to a quip from Percy or Nasiens or Lance, then maybe it could work. But no, Anne has to ask the question and hope to get a lie for an answer, which is, I don't know, it's still super duper conditional. Obviously, he's going to find a way to come in clutch. Nakaba wouldn't build the magic this way if he didn't have a plan for it to come in clutch in some crazy, insane, next level way that I could never think of. But I don't know. I'm very intrigued to see how Nakaba's going to make this one come out the clutch. Because this one, I don't know, this one seems rough. However, we do get to see that as Anne figured out that prerequisite, Isolde asks, oh, are your eyes bothering you, Sir Lancelot? And you have a funny voice going on. And so, wow, he really is just fully emulating Macduff. And we see that Lance Strip admits, oh, I'm playing Macduff right now, don't worry. And that's got to be haunting. Like, I know Lance probably, I mean, he knows that Macduff is the one who got Jade up out of here. Like he knows that. Like, that's not like, uh-oh, who did it? Who could have possibly executed one of our homies? Like, he knows that. So the fact that he casually goes up to Isolde and is like, oh yeah, I'm playing Macduff, is kind of crazy. Like, don't get me wrong. Maybe Lance is just a little emotionally insensitive. I highly doubt spending 4 years of your life with someone who is less than stable themselves probably raises the most emotionally aware individuals, but darn, Lance, darn. Like, the context behind that line is crazy. However, we do get to see that when Nasiens asks, oh, where's Percival? Lance gestures, and you see I'm sorry, bro. You see Percival dragging himself. He's just dragging himself. And of course, Percival being Percival is like, are you all alright? Are you okay? My beloved friends, I may not be able to feel my bones, but are your bones still intact? And that's crazy, right? Because we got to realize, if you don't like the idea that Percy blew up Meliodas from the inside, or not Meliodas, he blew up Chaos Gone from the inside, and thus, inside durability versus outside durability, two completely different things, right? So maybe you don't think that Percy scales to Chaos Gallon. I think we could all agree, because it happened, that Percy could damage Meliodas, which should just, simple addition, put him above regular Chaos Gallon. And slop or not, Chaos Gallon should at least, at bare minimum, be relative to his original series self. Especially the one with no magic. Maybe not a full power Prime Gallon, but at least lowballing Chaos Gallon to the utmost relative to his no magic spawn start of series self. So, that means that with level 2, that is all Lance is using. No amps. Like, presumably, unless his fists get the 10 times amps, because they're like weapons, if his fists are registered weapons and they get the 10 times amp that Macduff got when he was wielding his gloves, that means that Macduff could bully Galland. There are now humans that could bully high-level demons. That is crazy. Realize Galland would be put in the exact same predicament that Percy is in right now. Put that image in your head. Galen dragging himself to the rest of the commandments after Daddy McDuff spreads his cheeks like one spreads butter over a piece of toast. That is crazy to me. Hey, I mean, maybe Nakaba just doesn't think of the implications of these things, but I feel like he does. I don't, like, Nakaba's very particular and very vague purposefully. Like, I know some authors don't necessarily care about their power scaling, like, that's how you get massive weird contradictions, but, like, I feel like Nakaba knows what he's doing when he does stuff like this. So that's crazy. That is crazy. McDuff just bolos the entire beginning of series of Seven Deadly Sins. That's wild. However, with that being the case, we see that Percy straight up admits he just can't beat Lance at all. When he's in level 2 mode, that's just it. He has nothing that he can really do. And we see that with that being the case, Nasien's like, dude, are you okay? Like, what kind of training are you actually doing? And now you can see the relationship is mended. Presumably because Nasien's had the talk with Anne, he had the realization and the understanding, and he let out those hidden emotions. And thusly, he's able to reconnect with Percy in a decent way. And that's nice. You know, I still do like the Nasien's-Percy dynamic. I feel bad for Nasien's because he's obviously crushing mad hard, but still, you know, I'm here to support. I'm here to support. Hopefully, I'm sorry, I don't see Nakaba doing that. I'm sorry, I still have money on Nasien's going. Like, I really don't think we're gonna have, like, the time skip at the end of the series and we're gonna see Nasien's. I just don't buy it. I really don't. But the main person I see getting with Percy by the end of the series does walk right on up to Percy. And we see Percy, when being questioned by Anne on why he just forced himself to come up here, Percy is honest. He's like, oh, when I heard you were knocked out, I was worried, okay? I care about you, Anne. And we see that gets Anne so flustered, she gets hearts in her eyes. Bruh, she gets hearts. How down bad, how down atrocious do you have to be to get hearts in your eyes by the simple mention of someone caring for you? Simply put, it could never be me. It could never be me. That is crazy. She gets so detailed, she gets lipstick that I guess she just always has, but we rarely see because we're never this zoomed in. But even then, when we're this zoomed in previous panels, we don't see this lipstick. So, like, she is lost deep in the sauce. And I think Percy is still just, like, it's unfortunate. I don't think Percy actually, likes Anne. I think he legit sees Anne as a friend and just likes the other things that Anne has that will not be described, because I like having a channel. But with that being the case, I hope Percy isn't as thick-headed as Isolde for forever, but he has even more of a reason to be thick-headed. Once again, the man's been off God's finger for like 2 weeks. He is still very socially inept, so I highly doubt he realizes what this means. So, I mean, to each their own, though. I mean, I hope Anne gets lucky. Well, let's just say that. However, with that being the case, the main point is that Donny is still on the ground, and Anne pressures him to admit that he lied, but our Chad Lancelot is still worried about Gawain, because obviously she's the only one that's not undergoing any training right now, and that's because she's currently being held captive by the Knights of Camelot, but they don't know that. So Anne writes it off as Gawain being out exploring the demon realm, but Lance just writes it off, which does feel a little bit like, I mean, I guess they didn't know they were being followed, but I think they should know that they should always be at least aware of each other's location. Like Lance, fine. Lance can wander off on his own. He'll be fine. I highly doubt Lance has any real competition within the Chaos Knights, at least out of the ones that have been revealed yet. I'm pretty sure Lance one-taps Pelgard and Ironside fused together. But for Gawain, they should probably keep an eye on her. For Percy, keep an eye on him. For, heck, even Tristan, keep an eye on him. I don't know. This feels a little bit silly, a little bit stupid, but then again, Lance doesn't know Gawain that well, nor does he know the upper limits of her power, so he probably figures if something went wrong, he would know, but it's hard to tell. So Gawain is still stuck out of luck here. I wonder what's going to happen when she wakes up, because presumably she could just teleport out. There's no reason for Gawain to stay there unless she wants to, like, be stupid and try and get revenge. So Gawain could just leave the moment she wakes up. I highly doubt they bound her. I mean, there was some weird stuff tied around her, so maybe they do some weird stuff where, like, oh, she can't use magic, but if she can use magic, she just teleports out of there. So I don't think Gawain's in any real danger, especially considering the Chaos Knights have fully admitted they're not actually going to do anything to her. So I think she's just fine. However, that ends day 1 of Demon World training, and 6 days until they set off for the Behemoth. So I suppose the Behemoth is just vibing. Just the Behemoth. However, overall, WWW chapter. I do actually like this chapter a little bit more than the first, even though this one has way less foreshadowing. I think it has other things that I'm more interested in, like seeing Zeldris' current mentality in regards to the demon world is interesting. Even if I complained about it a lot, I do like the world building that's implied here. Seeing Tristan versus SCHWARZ, getting SCHWARZ confirmed to not be Belly, and seeing SCHWARZ have a transformation, very, really cool. Seeing Tristan's new transformation of half demon mode. Why did I say mold like that? I said mode like mold. I have no idea why I said it like that. But seeing that is really, really neat. Seeing SCHWARZ's transformation, seeing the, well, not even just seeing, but getting more groundwork for the development of Tristan's journey of self-acceptance and understanding, getting the explanation and build up more for really Anne's magic, the establishment that, you know, stuff is going on with Isolde, and maybe there's going to be some character revelations later about her true feelings for Jade and Jade's true feelings for her. I like all that. I like all that. And I'm excited to see what we have next chapter, considering it should just be more of the same. I'm not exactly sure when we're going to get to like plot stuff. I still think we're going to get a few more days, or at least one more chapter of this training arc. I feel like there could be more, but I don't know. There's a lot of stuff up in the air right now, but I'm super duper excited. However, that's what I think. Please, what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. To like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notifications to miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon below. You saw for as low as $1 a month. You can like exclusive videos, early content, and more. I was now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dago the Pencil, writing off.